It's called True Love Waits. And it is about, something beautiful came out of this besides, when Charlene, when I first got sick, Linda and I had separated. I kind of pushed her away from me for a couple of reasons. Number one was I wasn't smart enough to know that I had a beautiful thing in front of me, and I was young, and I thought that I had forever ahead of me. So I wasn't really paying attention to something so special like I should have been. And the second thing that drifted us apart was me coming down with cancer and knowing that I had to battle something that I didn't want anybody else in my life to have to go through. So I kind of distanced myself from all my friends, and I pushed her away. And Linda begged me not to do that, but I did it anyway. And I think the moment that I did that, I regretted it, but I let it go anyway. And through the years, I definitely looked back and wished that I had not done that, because I knew from the moment that I left Linda that she should have been in my life forever, because she just had everything that I felt deeply about. I mean, when I thought of her, I felt vital. I felt good. And I never got that with anyone else that I was with. So I knew that I made a big mistake, but I knew also that I had lost her because so many years had gone by, and there was so much distance between us. We never saw each other after that, not once, except for one chance encounter 20 years later in 2000, when I saw her at a store for 5 minutes or so, in which case all my feelings came right back, surfaced. But when we first split up, and I went to fight for my life, and Linda ended up getting married right after this. So there was a complete separation. Through the years, I didn't know this, but Linda had felt the same way, and she used to go to the reunions, the class reunions, looking for me, and I was never there because like I said, I distanced myself from everyone. And it wasn't until I actually got back from Florida after writing a book that I actually started to connect with the people that I knew from high school. It was that much of a separation for me. Well, when I first started writing the book, I thought about that time when I was 16. And I thought about how this person that I was with Linda was just completely gone from me. I was a mature person. I lost that vitality, that youthful vitality that so much happened to me that I became a more serious person. And I think I wanted to somehow talk about that loss, that sacrifice that I made. So I put Linda in the first chapter, and I said that Linda will. Well, instead of telling you about it, I'll tell you what. Page 7. When I talk about loss, and I talk about how much things changed, I say a little more than 27 years has spent itself against the backdrop of time since that early, brisk November morning. It was the day that life, as I knew it, would abruptly end. It followed my last verdant summer, the summer that dramatically changed the course I was on. It was a time when I had squandered my first love and also lost my best friend forever. That was Dean. He was 3 months before I got cancer. My best friend and I were in a car accident. I was the driver. It was a rainstorm, and the car went into a tree, and he went into a semi-coma for 14 days. And the guilt of that just played heavily on me. And 3 months later, I came down with Hodgkin's, which is an autoimmune disease where the body attacks itself. I couldn't process that whole guilt. And Dean finally came out of the coma, but he lost a lot of the memory of who we were and how close we were. So that affected me. Sometimes I feel that life hasn't forgiven me for treating such treasures with such reckless abandon. I should have never let her go, because in her, I know now, was that once-in-a-lifetime lasting love. She was the last girl to see that daring look in my eyes in a way no one would ever see again. Linda saw me the way that I had always wanted to be seen. In her memory is captured a time in my life where I was at the threshold of the most profound change. She took with her, through her life, the David that was surrendered to the hands of fate, the David I will never be again. And my best friend Dean, I should have stayed with him through it all until he remembered me once again, as we were before, buddies. So what I did with Dean too is I ran from that guilt. And we didn't see each other for many years. All I did was hear about how he was doing, but I never really reached out to him.
No, it's important to mention that when you wrote that, you had absolutely, it wasn't intended.
No, I was just because I was writing about something that was so important to me that I lost, and it haunted me, and I wanted people to know the sacrifices that you make. Even though you gain things, there's not sacrifices in any kind of adversity, and the regrets that you have, and sometimes some decisions that you make can be so lifelong. I thought, in my mind, when I wrote about her, that she was gone forever. It was not even an issue for me. I was writing solely to let people know that these things happen to people.
Were you hoping that she would read it eventually?
No, I had no thought of it. My best friend, when I was writing it, he said, she might read this, and I said, her life is so different from mine. She's got 2 children. She's got a husband. She's been married for many years. I said, the thought of her reading it is not relevant at this point. If she reads it, she knows how I felt about it, But it didn't even occur to me that she felt in any way like I did. So I write, most of my dreams were cruel to me. They would often glorify my triumphs in sports much more than they deserved to be, making me realize even more how much I had lost. In my dreams, I ran with the football alongside my teammates. They were all there with me. My coaches admired me for my strength, and I belonged to something greater than myself. What I did served some sort of purpose. It meant something to me. I dreamt often about my first love, that somehow time had brought her back to me. I knew that I was dreaming, even in my dreams. Fate took me so far away, I knew that there was no going back. Sometimes it seemed so real to me that my heart would ache right after, and I would feel again the full extent of my losses, as if they had just happened. That's what I felt. And then in the end of the book, in Thought and Remembrance, I wrote one more time for Linda. Linda, I smile even now, some 27 years later, because I remember everything we shared together. You were the one. Life offered me my true love long before I realized it, long before I could appreciate it, and for this I lost you. You've haunted me like no other. Traces of you remain in my heart. That, along with other remembrances to my father that passed away and my brothers, that I appreciate how, even though I got more attention than them, they were totally cool.
And she said, this is Annette Truman. Now, she remarried, so I didn't know who Annette Truman was. I knew her as Annette Como. I'm looking for Marissa. David's book is ready. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. So I called my daughter, and I said, Marissa, you have a message. Annette Truman, David's book is ready. I don't know what that means. She said, Ma, that's David, your ex-boyfriend. I said, oh, all right. Well, I guess his book is ready. So I called David's mom the next day. In the meantime, I was going through a divorce, so it was very coincidental. And I went, picked up the book, kept it for a couple of days before I even opened it. And then, she told me that I was on the last page. And then when I read that, it just really hit home because I always had a special love for David. When we broke up when we were 16, it was just, it wasn't like a nasty breakup or anything. It was just because he was so sick, and I would call his house, and his mom would say, I'm sorry, he's so sick, he's so weak, he can't talk to you. And we just gradually broke up. So I always had a special place for David in my heart. I often dreamt about him throughout the years. Like you said, in 2000, we saw each other for 5 minutes at Michael's, and that just brought back a lot of, feelings. I never knew that David felt that way all these years. He never knew that, I still had a special love for him. And so when I actually read that, it just took my breath away. And I emailed him and told him that I read it.